And now, Team No Excuses presents The Ray Lewis Show.
You gotta be bobbing and weaving.
That's right.
I need you every week. I need your shoulders moving. Every week I'm yeah. See, there you go.
Look at that.
There you go. You got the
the bob and the weave and the positive energy.
Yes, man. That's what we do, man. I am so excited. No Excuses presents The Ray Lewis Show. My co-host, my man, John JB. I told you, no more John Brinkins. Nickname JB, right?
That's right.
I work with a JB, right? Who's in the Hall of Fame as well. So I got to be careful with the JBs. But I am super excited to have the show today. And it's just absolutely incredible. This guy, wow, this next leader that I'm about to bring on the screen is probably one of the greatest coaches of all time. Just from a mental perspective, what he brought to the field and what men wanted to do for him was absolutely incredible. And I wanted to bring that to Baltimore. I cannot delay no longer. I want to introduce and bring on to the Ray Lewis Show, the great Bill Cowher of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coach, how are you doing?
Hey, listen, I watched that bobbing and weaving for 10 years in Pittsburgh before every one of those games. So you guys might like to see it, but I was like, oh, here we go for the next 3 hours. I got to watch this guy bob and weave in and out of our backfield. Ray, is always good to see you. And I cannot believe we were actually talking on Ravens Week or Steelers Week, as you referred to it.
So I'm going to jump right into it because we got to get right into it. Steelers are 6-0. Ravens are 5-1. Coach, this is a tough game. Both sides are talented on both sides. Give me your thoughts. Give me your overall thoughts.
You know, the thing about it, Ray, this is really the first time that Ben has gone against Lamar with their respective teams. You know, Lamar came into his own a year ago. And 2 years ago, he's with Joe Flacco in and out of the lineup. But Ben missed all of last year. And these two teams, you know, John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, I think they've met now more than any other coaching duo because they've been at the forefront of this division, you know, for a very long time. And I think when you look at these two teams, they mirror each other from the standpoint they're disciplined, they're not going to beat themselves, very comfortable with who they are identity-wise. Two defenses that take pride in being able to get after the quarterback and stopping the run. And the offenses are a little bit different. I mean, I think the Baltimore offense obviously built around Lamar, running the football, play action offense with Marquise Brown and Andrews is a big part of that play action package. So I think it's a great game. To me, it's round one of a heavyweight fight because they're going to meet again later on. Who knows, they can meet again in the playoffs. So it's a classic matchup between two really tough football teams.
Listen, I totally agree on all fronts. I think they're really evenly matched. And so it's really going to be interesting, right? Just like when we were playing, who becomes that guy, right?
Right?
Who becomes the Palomalu? Who becomes the Ed? Who becomes, you know, it's like on one side, somebody has to make a play, right?
Yeah.
Give me, because you remember how we used to play. And it was, and nowadays it's about pass, offense. Because we play old school football. Give me the difference of what you see in today's game from when we used to play Pittsburgh and Baltimore football.
You know what? When we played, Ray, you know, we took pride, man. It was about whose defense can stuff the other one and who's been able to run the football. It's Jerome Bettis versus Jamal Lewis, right? I mean, so, you know, we knew you were going to run it. You knew we were going to run it. You knew we were going to play defense. We knew you were going to play defense. The biggest thing is being able to control your emotions in this game. There's going to be ebb and flow. There's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be a lot of talking going on out there. Okay, so you cannot let that distract you. You cannot put yourself ahead of the team. Don't be selfish in what you do action-wise. So staying focused in the moment is the team that can do it. You know, it's going to come down to you can't turn the football over in this game. You know, you're going to have to convert third downs, but I think more importantly, you're going to have to score touchdowns when you get into the red zone. These are two great kickers. You're going to have the kicking game. I think these are two of the best kickers in the National Football League. So they mirror each other in so many ways, but yet the bottom line is going to become the discipline mental element of this.
Oh, it always came down to that for us.
Right. And you were like, you brought it from the beginning. You had it there to the end as we did. and it came down to a play here, a play there, and probably a turnover. Who can make the big play at the big time?
Yeah.
Coach, one of the things that I've seen this NFL season, obviously it's unlike any season before, but the level of play has still remained surprisingly high to me. Yeah. Do you think that these rivalries bring out, the best in everyone, even when there aren't as many fans in the stands? It's like the history still remains.
Oh, the history does. It's so funny because one of the questions I want to ask TJ Watt is, when you came to Pittsburgh and the first time you played the Baltimore Ravens, what was said to you? Okay, what was said to you about this rivalry? What does this game mean to you? And so, and then after having now played in it for a few years, what's your takeaway from it? So it is a rivalry, as Ray made mention. I mean, he got there in '96. We used to have it with the Cleveland Browns, and for about 3 years there, it wasn't. They weren't that good. I mean, we beat them, and they were not relevant. But I remember,
you don't have to be nice. We were terrible.
Hey, I will remember the year 2000 forever. The very first game we played against you, you came up to Pittsburgh and beat us 16-0. And Shannon Sharp said, Pittsburgh's got some issues. And we came down to Baltimore later on that season. Actually, I think it was the last game that you lost that year. Yep. We beat you 9-6. And I remember standing in the hallway at the stadium, and I was getting ready to walk away. I go, by the way, tell us Shannon Sharp, we're just fine. Okay. But that was the last game you lost. That was a special year for you guys. And, I think from that time going forward, the subsequent 6 years that we played against you, it was intense. It was, it was a respect that we had for one another.
Yeah.
A true dislike we had because we were two people that were built the same way, carried the same DNA.
Yeah.
And on those 3 hours, take what you want to do. We were, we didn't put pads on that week. I didn't need to worry about us being able to.
Neither did we.
It's not a problem this game.
We know when Steeler week comes up, no pads this week because you would have enough. You got enough hidden that you're going to do on Sunday.
No question. Yeah, there's no. You don't have to worry about that. That was going to take place.
Coach, too many people have asked this question to you. When are you going back to the field? And your answer is?
You know what, Ray? I don't think I'll ever go back to the field. Wow. From this standpoint. You know what? I've got a great platform right now at CBS.
Yep.
I really enjoy talking about the game, sharing our experiences with others about the perspective we can give to it. But you know what? In these 14 years, my life has changed quite a bit. I've been my first wife passed away in 2000. I've remarried in 2004. I live in New York City. I'm a full-time New Yorker. I'm not sure how that happened, but it did. But I also have an off season. I have balance in my life that I didn't have before. 5 grandkids, and I'm really enjoying life. I got a great perspective on things. I got balance. I got perspective, and I'm continuing to try to transition from one profession to another. And so I think that's what life is about: transition, balance, and perspective. And I have that right now. And I love talking about football with other coaches. I talk to a lot of coaches along the way, try to give them any bit of wisdom that I have, I can share with them. Because as you know, Ray, and as you try to do, what you really are in life is what you're able to give to others. It's not what you accomplish. It's the wisdom that you can share with other people that can allow them potentially to be the best that they can be. That's so many times we reflect back on our careers. When we're in the middle of it, we're not reflecting, we're doing it. Yep. But as you step away from it, as you reflect back, the ability to kind of give that wisdom that you have gained through that experience and giving that to others is really what one's legacy is all about.
Yeah,
Coach. Coach, one thing that I've always admired about you is that you've been a great leader of men. My question to you is, how do you lead yourself? Like, how do you coach yourself? Because it's one thing to coach someone else. It's another thing to be introspective.
That's a great question.
I think it's also, I think it's a great question. I think I got better because I became a better listener. You go into something as a young head coach, you're brash, you have all the answers, you got to prove that, that people have confidence in you. Then the more you're in it, the more you realize it is a brotherhood. It's a togetherness. We're a team, and being a team and being a leader is being a good listener. educating yourself. Even in today's COVID world, as I sit back and talk about the social justice issues that are out there, I need to be a better listener. I did live a privileged life, okay? And I didn't realize I did until I sat back and looked at how other people live their lives. And so I've educated myself about the past so that we can maybe make the future better. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's just constantly becoming a better listener, keeping things in perspective, staying grounded in who you are, and feeling privileged to have the platform you have that you can help others along the way in some small, whatever way that can be. So, I've been very blessed to be able to be in the National Football League. I grew up 4 miles from Three River Stadium. Okay. I went back there in 1992, 34 years old, 3 years away from my 20th high school class reunion. My first goal was not to get fired because I just wanted to be able to go back to my 20th high school class reunion as head coach of my hometown team. So I kept my goals small, but I wanted my influence to be impactful. And I think being that is trying to keep everyone kind of grounded in perspective, but getting the best out of them, right? Like I wanted to get the best. I wanted them to push them. I wanted to walk on that field. Ray Lewis does his dance. You do your dance right back at him. And so I know you may not be as good as him, but I wanted you to think that way. So, and I wanted them to be as good as they could do. And I wanted them to have a swagger, a confidence. Yeah. And if you crossed the line of being selfish or being disrespectful, not just to the other team, but to the game, my job was to pull you back, but I wanted you to walk that line. I wanted you to walk that line as often as you could because I wanted you to be the best that you could be, even if you were playing better than you probably should be playing. Because you know what? In your mind, I wanted you to be the best person on it. I had 46 guys every week that says, I'm the best guy out here. Right. And that's the swagger that we played with.
Coach, that is so interesting because you went into something that I wanted to ask you about because in today's time, right, the game is different. Life is different, right? We've been faced with a lot, right? We've been faced with COVID. We've been faced with social unrest. We've been faced with the pandemic. We've just been faced with a lot of different. With how you live as a man of faith, with how you live, how would you handle the trends of today's athlete? With social media and the locker room and all of these things, how would you handle that?
I just think that you understand that it's a very part of what you do, right? So, I think anything you put out there, understand that you own it. And that represent who you are. And it goes back to the same thing, right? I go back to these 3 things. There's the 3 things I used to tell my 3 girls growing up. Right. It was the same things I said to them. I said, I had 3 girls at home and I got 53 boys at work. And the 3 things I said was, number 1, choices and consequences. Every choice you have. And I remember Marty Schottenheimer used this phrase once. He goes, you can control your choice, but once you make a choice, it controls you. Wow. So just understand with every decision you make, there's a consequence that goes with that. Because you control the decision that you make. The second thing is it's about the people you surround yourself with. I think like that is a very, very, the people you surround, are they people that are purpose driven? Or are they people that are just trying to just feed off of who you are? I want people around me that are purpose driven people that are focused on doing something that's impactful, that's meaningful. And the third thing is nothing good happens after midnight.
Nothing.
Nothing
good happens after midnight.
Nothing good happens after midnight. So in other words, just understand you're a Pittsburgh Steeler. You're in Pittsburgh. It's a big, small town. Where you are out, I know today it's maybe not apropos because there's nothing open, but just understand as the day goes on, I know where you are. And after midnight, there's probably nothing good is going to happen.
Right. That's so interesting because your perspective, right? In Proverbs 13, today I was reading Proverbs 13 as one of my readings, and it spoke about the crowd. It spoke about the difference of wisdom and fools, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting to hear your perspective from that perspective. And now even hear about how you would deal with things, being a better listener. Yeah. Right. I truly believe that's what our country has to fall into. That's what made great teams. Yes. Right. What made us great, Coach, is we listen to each other. Right. Coach listen to player listen to coach. Totally. Right. Totally. Yeah. Because that's the chemistry, right? And how important is it for you to be looked at as a player's coach? Like somebody that, because this, your guys right? They were gonna play for Coach Cowher with everything that they have.
Being a player, and you know this, right? Being a player's coach doesn't mean that, okay, you just give everybody what they want. No, being a player's coach means I'm listening to you. You trust me. I trust you. Yeah. You know, and I'm going to listen to you. But you know what? There are certain things we have to do better. If we have to start this period over, we're going to start this period over. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to push you. I may make you uncomfortable, okay? Mm-hmm. But if I don't make you uncomfortable, you won't grow. So I used to say, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because I'm going to make you uncomfortable. Because you know what? In the fourth quarter of games, when it's hot, and all of a sudden, a couple penalties come against you, you're uncomfortable. But how are you going to deal with it? How are you emotionally going to deal with that? Does that bring you back to a greater focus, or does frustration take over? So if I can make you uncomfortable in a setting right there, I know on Sundays, trust me, you'll be comfortable.
Do what you do.
Yep, that's it.
Bring me in. Hey, Coach, one thing that I really, really want to hear from you is there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. And people feel like, you know what, things are more uncertain than ever. But that's a little bit of an illusion, right? Because life is always uncertain. There's just times that we're more aware that things are uncertain. So as such a great leader, what do you do when things don't work out the way that you think they should work out? How do you sort of revert to your faith to be cool with the way that things shake out, even though they're not the ways that you envisioned it?
That's a great it's funny you say uncertainty. I said, there is uncertainty in how we're proceeding with things, but there should be certainty in how you do things, right? Mm-hmm. So how you do it is one way. What's ahead of you is another way. They always say that adversity doesn't build character, it reveals character. Mm-hmm. It reveals a lot about yourself and how you deal with uncomfortable situations, right? So I just go forward and just saying with everything out there, and I said, like you talk about faith, Ray, and I think when you think about balance, I've had balance in life, and for me, my faith was important for me. Every Sunday morning, I'd go to chapel before every game. And it's so funny, to Troy Polamalu, I said, I used to see Troy, not to divert a little bit, but I said a great story was, we go Saturday night, Mr. Rooney used to have mass, Catholic mass, and I'd see Troy walking out there with Mr. Rooney and talking, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Troy must be Catholic. And I said, so next morning I go into chapel and Troy's in there 15 minutes before. So this is his first year. It's about the fourth Sunday morning in. I go in there, and it's a little bit early. I walked over, sat, I go, Troy, let me just ask you a question. Not to pry or anything. I said, what denomination are you? Like, what are you? Like, are you Catholic? Are you Protestant? He goes, no, Coach, I just love all religion. I go, oh, okay. That's okay. He loves scripture. He loved religion. And, and it just, that to me is a man who had great balance in his life. And that's what it does. It gives you a perspective. As Ray's talking about the Proverbs, and, I know there's a greater force than me, and we're all been put on this earth at some point to make a difference. And there's impactful, and the good Lord will never give you anything that you can't handle. So I had a tough year in 2010. I lost my wife and I lost my father within 3 months.
Blessings.
But, and that was, thank you. But it was, they both are in a better place right now. Mm-hmm. And I know they look down upon me, and I know that they're proud, and I know that I think about them and talk about them all the time, because they were great, very impactful in who I am today. And so, but that's just the way it works. It's the way life works. So when things are thrown bad at you, just understand there's other people in this world that have a lot worse than
way worse than you.
I mean, really, let's keep it in its proper perspective, right? I mean, we're all pretty blessed to be where we are and to have the health we have, to have the family that we have around us, the loved ones we have. And I think that's what life is all about, is surround yourself with people who love you for who you are, unconditional.
Mm-hmm. I love, Coach, those are such incredible words. One of the things you obviously had to deal with loss, but, Trent Dilfer, a really good friend of all of us. Trent lost a son, when he was just 5, and it's incredible to listen to him talk about, I didn't lose a son when I was 5. I was given a son for 5 years, and it was a gift. And that's a really way, and that's not a turn the frown upside down. That's the truth. Yeah. He's like, this is the truth, that we are given gifts, and gifts, yes, they last forever, but they last in different states forever. In understanding that, it seems like that sport in that community that's so important to us. When people are sort of looking at professional sports saying it's a little bit different today, and my sort of message is that's okay. Like, it can't be the same as it was, and we can celebrate both states, but it's still the love of the game and the love of the community is still the same.
I agree. I mean, I don't know, Ray, what you're thinking. I still think the locker room's the same locker room you walked into and when you were a rookie and you came in there. Yeah. You have to prove yourself. You have to be respectful of what you're walking into. You figure out the dynamics of what that building is all about, what that locker room is all about, and you accept your role. You prove yourself. And as you prove yourself to be better and better, you'll get a little bit more leeway. And that's, that's just kind of the way it works. I think it's the way it works in the world. I mean, people aren't just handed things and should not be handed things. And so you have to earn it, and you have to earn the respect. You have to earn whatever you achieve. And so, Ray Lewis is who he is because he earned that respect on the field with the way he prepared, with the way he played, with the way he approached life, right? And so these things aren't just handed to people, and it's not happenstance that it does. So I think even though today's athletes, you can look at them, yeah, they're different. The world's different, but on the inside, it's still the same dynamic. The DNA is still the same, and the culture's still there. And you have to create that. And I think the good football teams, you can walk in that locker room today, and you can walk in that locker room 15 years ago, whatever it may have been, and you're going to probably still see a lot of the same things being there, right?
I guarantee you're going to get the exact same thing, Coach. A lot of people call our kids millennials. I call them my children. Right. I don't get it. No, because they are, right. We're all in one. And you're right. History, it repeats itself, but it also teaches a very interesting lesson. Right. And the ones that came before you, there's something that you must understand why you follow them. Yeah. Right. And that just really puts me into this space, Coach, because it seems like your style, and this is a compliment to you, your style was more integrity over talent. And every person that came on your team, I think you made that clear to them. You may be good, but integrity to me is way more important than what you can do for me. Explain that, please.
Well, it's funny because they're talking about Chase Claypool, right? Chase Claypool, the young rookie.
Yeah, the rookie.
For Steelers, he's had 5 touchdowns in his first 2 weeks, and he's really come on. And they said he's had more scores as a rookie than any other Steeler receiver. And I said, well, all my Steeler receivers were covering kicks their first year. They were playing special teams.
The humble way.
Plexico Burris was even covering kicks. I said, Hines Ward, Yancey Thigpen, I can go back in time. These guys played special teams. They weren't scoring touchdowns. So you earned the right to be there. And, talent is important. But you know what? When you have 53 guys, you have to buy into a concept of sacrifice, of team, of being unselfish in what your actions are. And you wanted to be. I wanted the cockiness. I wanted you to want the ball. I get it. But at the same time, you're going to have to be respectful of the fact I'm going to make decisions that's in the best interest of this team to win games, not to feed any one individual an opportunity to increase an individual. I'm not developing an individual. I'm developing a team.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we get so caught up in trying to develop players that we're losing sight of the team element of it, right? I mean, we're trying to develop players build the culture first. Build the culture, then you can
build the culture first.
Yes, right. Not the player. So it's that I've always believed in that. Maybe it's because I was a free agent, linebacker, covered kicks for 5 years. So these are all things that that's how I came into the league. I was cut once. Cut once, went back down, got in school, and came back up and signed with the Cleveland Browns in 1980 for $1,000, $684 when I took out the taxes. Okay. And my minimum contract I had, made it as a special teams player, played 3 years there, 2 years with the Eagles. And Marty Schottenheimer said, you want to get in the coach? And I said, yeah, because every year I was like, I was just trying to make the cut every year. I was that guy. And so I do think that it is a privilege, and it's not something that's an entitlement when you're on a football team. And I think that you should I try to make sure that that's brought to the forefront.
Yeah, Coach, last statement, and I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. Because these nuggets, I got so many nuggets. I keep trying to grab my pen and write it down. So everybody on the back end, just make sure you're writing all these things down because I have to clear this thing up later. Listen, Coach, Hall of Fame. Your year, you're in. What does that moment mean for Coach Cowher to put on that gold jacket?
You know, Ray, it's so funny because when I walked away after 15 years, I knew it was a really good team. And I told many people for many years I probably walked away from a Hall of Fame career, a Hall of Fame, enshrinement. And, when that happened a year ago, when David Baker came on here, I didn't need validation for what I did. I felt very, very proud of my 15 years in Pittsburgh. But boy, this put me into this class of people, yourself included, this family, this team that you're going to be on for the rest of your life. That who was it that said you can't get cut from? Which I thought was a great line.
You can never get cut from this team, Coach.
Never get cut from this team. So I said I'll never get cut again. And so it's a special brotherhood. I am so blessed and honored and humbled by being with players like yourself and going in there with Troy Polamalu and Donnie Shell, two defenses, two strong safeties from the Pittsburgh Steelers in the same class. I said I couldn't even think of a better group of people to go in there with. Hopefully one day we'll get Alan Fanek in there and Hines Ward and but I see Jerome in there. I see Kevin Green and I don't know. I am so blessed and so humbled by it, and it's just I still to this day I sit here and think back and reflect and just realize how blessed a person I've been. And, if there's anything I can give back to anyone that's going out there looking to be a head coach again and any questions they may have, I'm always going to be around to be able to give it to them, unconditionally. And
that's our gift, right? That's our gift. We got to share it.
That becomes our legacy more than anything we ever did, right? And that's what you're doing now. And I say that to you, and I'll just leave you and say this. So much respect for you as a player, as a person, what you stand for, and just watching you now. And you talk about purpose-driven life. God bless you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making a difference. You're touching people somewhere along the way. And I know you made a lot of tackles in your career, but I think what you're doing right now may be even more impactful. So keep it up, man. I love you. And go Steelers. This will be totally unacceptable in any other.
I'm not letting you get out of here without asking you this question. I'm not letting you get out of here without asking you this question. What? Who did you pick to win this week? And
I'm telling you, but if you put objectively look at this game, okay?
Yes.
Okay, because you're out of it. You've been away from it for a while.
I'm out of it, yeah.
Okay. Who do you really think has the better team?
Baltimore.
See, some things have never changed. So yeah, I'm picking Pittsburgh. So I thought I had him for just a second. he started thinking. Love you, man.
That's that one pause. That's that one pause before I used to walk out of that tunnel. Before I used to play against you guys, I'd be like, I got to put a little extra on this day.
I love it. I love it.
Coach, listen, congratulations. You are the epitome of what leadership is. From my young career at 19 years old, the first time I've ever walked in that stadium and saw you on the other side, I wanted to take that back to Baltimore. And I told you this before,
that's very flattering.
Oh, Coach, the respect, man, the thing that I wanted so bad for us to have. And then we ultimately grabbed that, but it was one team that we had to stand up to. And it was the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it was a Bill Cowher coach Pittsburgh Steelers team. Coach, thank you so much for joining the Ray Lewis Show. This is absolutely amazing. The gems you dropped on everything around the board was just absolutely amazing. And you did say Pittsburgh was going to win, or did you say Baltimore?
I think I said that. I think I said Pittsburgh.
I just wanted to be clear. I just want everybody to be clear. Okay, so Coach Cowher is taking Pittsburgh, and I'm going to take Baltimore. All right.
We'll let it play out on Sunday.
Let it play out on Sunday. Coach, God bless you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you, Coach. Wow, Ray, you're normally just a ridiculous soundbite machine, but I think Coach has you on this one today.
Did you see why? Did you hear one of his greatest lessons was just listen? So I became a listener today. Okay.
I hear. You know what? You're flipping it around now.
Exactly. No, I'm not flipping it. I'm just telling you, Coach was so good. Like I was like, you know what? I got all these points wrote down, and I want to get this and that in. And I was like, the first one, I was like, oh boy, I need to listen. So I just dialed in and started listening. But listen, like checking in, right? I'm gonna tell you like what makes this really interesting, right? I come from LA, and I'm like grinding in this cycling world, John. And I'm telling you, it's exactly what Coach just got through talking about. I ended up doing 100 miles on Saturday with an LA crew, right?
Did you ride on PCH?
Yes. Yeah. All the way up. Went past the rock.
Yep.
Yeah, went all the way past
That's
the rock.
my old track, man.
Really?
I used to ride it all the time.
Really?
All the time. Every weekend I would ride 100 miles.
Baby, when I tell you we got 100 miles in, and it took us about 5 hours and 40 minutes, right?
We had some stops in there. That was all right.
Stops. Yeah, we had flat tires. But I'm gonna tell you what's different. 5 years ago, and this is for somebody who tried something and put it down because they thought they wasn't good enough to continue it. I tried cycling for so many years, but I just couldn't get my hand on it. Why? Because I was going on, off, right? 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off.
Yep.
You can't cycle that way. You have to commit to it, right? So everybody knows since the pandemic, I've been cycling. 5 years ago, I'd done that ride, and we went 89 miles. And it was the worst ride I've ever had in my life. I was pedaling.
You were like,
I couldn't
too much.
breathe. I couldn't breathe. And I kept, and one time I went up the hill, and on the other side, I saw Jesus. On the other side, I said, Lord.
He said, Ray, stop. Come on, I got you.
I said, Lord, if you told me I was coming home like this, then let me come.
That's hilarious.
And I messed around and went back. This time. And as I'm going back, John, I'm like, wait a minute. Are you just not pushing hard, or are you that much better? Right? And so halfway into it, 50 miles into it, 60 miles into it, and we're going up mountains, and I'm like pounding the mountains. Yep. And I'm like, wait a minute. You may be just really getting this cycling thing. So anyway, long story short, I'm proud of myself. My girl says this all the time. She says, you promote yourself more than anybody. Absolutely. And I'm going to encourage somebody else to do that. But that's my week, man. I had an incredible week of just meeting. I got a bunch of big things in the pipeline, JB, that me and you are going to be excited about. So yeah, man, it was good.
Totally.
It was good.
It was great. You know what's amazing about that? And first of all, congratulations on breaking through, because it's not easy.
It ain't easy. It's not easy. It hurts.
It does.
It freaking hurts. And it's frustrating, right? Because you think you got something figured out, but you don't have it figured out. And you get out there and you keep going. And then you ask yourself. And that's why I always say this to people, right? You can make the outside of your body look like anything you want to make it. But when you want to be in control of your life, if you feel good on the inside, life is, it becomes, that's what Coach, I'm telling you, it's a mentality.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I used to do Ironman triathlons and used to be, a little bit of an endurance athlete. And here's what's interesting. So my wife decided she wanted to get into it. And in Ironman, you have to swim 2.4 miles. And my wife didn't know how to swim at all. And so I was like, well, I'll help coach you up. She swam one lap and literally broke into tears. And Lizzie, she's a tough customer. She broke into tears saying, I'm never going to be able to do this. Right. She said, how will I be able to swim 2.4 miles? I said, because today you're going to swim one lap. Tomorrow you're going to swim 2, then 3. and then 4, and eventually you're going to get there, but you got to do it all the time. You can't pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. It's got to be a habit. And you riding 100 miles on PCH, I mean, there's no way about it. That's a tough ride.
That's a tough ride. That's a tough ride. And then you come back the next day and you do 60 miles. That's a tough ride. It's just a tough ride. But I'm telling you, I learned so much on that ride. I'm telling you, it just changed my whole perspective, changed my whole week, which is why I want to jump into the thoughts of the week, right? Because the guy that we have on, the guest that we have on is just going to be absolutely amazing. Bill Cowher is going to, he's, wow.
We just had Bill.
We just had him. JB.
We just had him.
I mean, when I tell you the nuggets, I had a pen in my hand, right? I had my pen. You know, I always have orange for hurricanes, always orange for hurricanes. You know, just little stuff. It's always detailed stuff. But I'm sitting there and I'm listening to Coach Cowher, and I'm listening to him say, one of the most important things I've learned in life is to become a better listener. In my entire career, since I was 10 years old, one of my greatest gifts, I've always been able to listen. Because once you can listen, then you can hear the message. It's two different sides of hearing and listening. And once you listen to something and you listen to it repeatedly or listen to it more than once, it then becomes a formed habit, right? So it's really interesting, right? Because when you think about the 5 skills to improve our leadership in life, right? Business and relationships, because that's where we are right now, right? We have to figure out how to work with each other, right? A lot of people think, you know, it's what's going on with the pandemic, or it's what's going on with social, all of these things, but it's actually understanding how individually each person has to build. And I'm gonna give you 5 points, and I'm gonna be real quick, JB. 5.
Do it.
Number 1, focus. It's the one thing that I tell people all the time. If you want to get anything done, you must focus. If we can focus effectively, we can think effectively. But you must focus. Why? Because you must figure out the difference between detours and distractions, because those will be around forever. And you got to figure it out. And if you don't, you're going to be stuck on focus. Number 2, Coach spoke about this. Number 2, integrity. Let me tell you something about integrity. Integrity, our character is built on the integrity of our words and actions. Our character, exactly who you are. Now listen, there's a secret to this. This is exactly who you are with absolutely nothing. I'm talking about this. This ain't money. This ain't demographics. This ain't what you have, what you can give. This is exactly who you are based on the integrity of our words and actions. Number 2 is integrity. Number 3, commitment. The hardest thing to do in this world. Remember, we just talked about it on the bike. Think about how many times I could have given up in the midst of this bike over a 10-year stint of never can figure it out, on watching people pass by me. But I committed to learning it, and sometimes learning it hurts. That's what life is. Sometimes it takes you through some painful valleys that you don't want to go back through. But those who are committed, when people watch a person committed, they are able to inspire people by just simply being an example. Simply being the example.
Keep going.
Oh, I'm just saying, JB, I'm in that mood sometimes. And you know, when sugar get in that mood, I just got to get things off my chest, because the number 4 is planning, right? It's understanding that the good book says, write the vision and make it plain. A plan provides the course of action to take and helps a team or organization, listen to me, reach their goal, right? Following a clear structure. Clear, that's what planning does, is it takes all the guessing out of it, right? That's what Coach Cowher was talking about in that 4th quarter, right? Who are you in the 4th quarter? What are you thinking about in the 4th quarter when somebody done beat you on the same play over and over and over? But I've planned for this all week. I've planned for that one play. I've planned for that one business opportunity. I planned for that one meeting that was going to get me out of the situation I was in. Somebody, I'm telling you, Somebody has written a plan. Somebody has written many plans, and they put the plans away. And I'm challenging you, pull your plan back out. And you have to make sure that, number 5, that you got the right team to execute your plan, right? It is the responsibility of a leader to get the most out of his team. That's what makes great leaders.
Brother Ray, listen to me. These are 5 points: focus, integrity, commitment, planning, team. I mean, people need to write that on their wall. They need to put it on their hand. It needs to be everywhere.
It needs to be everywhere, every day of your life, because the only things that stop you from focusing, integrity, commitment, planning, and team is distractions or detours. Somebody's going to call you to tell you to worry more about their problems. Somebody's going to call you to tell you to worry about what somebody else tweeting or worry about what somebody else said, and you got enough problems of your own. I don't have time. We don't have time no more, because if you want to help in a time of a pandemic, become the change. If you want to help in the time of social justice, become the difference.
Yeah.
The book of Proverbs spoke about this morning, Proverbs 13, that power of life and death is found in the tongue, right? That you control futures by your words that come out of your mouth. Positive energy.
What's incredible about that is, be the change in the world that you want to see.
Be the change. Be the change. If you want to see real change, be careful what you speak around children. Be careful what you're putting out in the world. Be careful of the energy you're putting out in the world, because a leader becomes a servant before he claims to be a leader. Every leader serves.
What is very interesting to me is, look, we've called this segment Thoughts, and we're given 5 skills to improve that. Now, here's one thing that I want everybody to understand. Thoughts matter. What you are thinking matters.
JB, that's why the segment is called Thoughts.
Yep.
Because what you think, you become.
Yep.
What you think, you eat. What you think, you listen to. What you think, you follow. Yeah, man, you're a product of your environment. Your brain is your environment. That's your environment. You control this world. And I'm telling you, look, I'm gonna round up by simply telling you this. And I wanna make sure somebody understands this. There are skills to everything that you want to achieve in life. There are skills. And most of these skills that we and myself are going to be giving out, and the guests are going to be giving out, are tangible things that each person can take them and use them to change their life. But if you don't exercise them, it's impossible for them to work. Focus will remain focus. Integrity will remain integrity. Commitment will remain commitment. Planning and team. And what you will watch is everybody around you doing it. And you're the last one being picked. Coach Cowher said something. Coach Cowher said something. And I'm going to let us end with this. But Coach Cowher said something. He said, in these times of understanding the racial temperature of this world, the things that's going on in this world, a lot of things he could have said, a lot of things he could have did. But his one ability, he said, I became a better listener. Sometimes life is truly to take a step back and understand the battle before you jump in it, right? Because that takes judgment out of it. Yeah, well.
Dude, listen, I am so blessed to, obviously, I value our friendship so much. And, the idea that we're all still on this journey. I mean, here you are, Hall of Famer. You've accomplished basically everything that an athlete could possibly accomplish. And you're not sitting back saying, I'm done. You're kind of saying, listen, I'm just getting started.
I'm just getting started.
So what you got to...
JB, I got so many alter egos. See, I got so many alter egos. I got to put them in boxes, right? I got to put them in boxes. And in certain times that I bring out, see, I got Babutu, I got Sugar, I got so many different people. You got to,
right.
And every day I get up, and sometimes in the morning, within 20 minutes, I jump into 4 or 5 different personalities. But they all bring me back to what makes me focus, what makes me commit, what keeps my integrity intact, what makes sure my team is right. And every day I get up, the proper planning. I live by the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performances. I truly believe that in my entire career, right? I prepare properly. That my poor performances, it can't be. Because my ability, I'm gonna give everything I got. So I'm gonna give you a couple of takeaways, right? And I want you to understand this from a perspective of what we're doing. Always, you can see more of this at teamnoexcuses.tv, but the takeaway from this is, as a people, taking away Coach Cowher, we must become better listeners. As a leader, you must become a better example of what that is. When you talk about character and integrity, the only thing that I ask that you pay attention to is your influence of the people that's following you. Because when you understand that, then you'll understand your integrity is the most important thing that you can ever leave or give anyone. Team No Excuses. It don't get no better. JB, you are amazing. And what just happened today, every day I do this, my life changes again because I learn something every day, my brother. And I end it, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, listen, the lesson of listening is a powerful one. And a lot of people need to do that. And sometimes when you hear a message like we heard from Coach, where he said, I'm going to make you better. You might be uncomfortable, but get comfortable being uncomfortable. You'll come out of the other side. And I want you all to visualize, Ray, in your playing days, you were 6'1", 250, right? Something like that. Do you want to look up? I want everybody to go look up. Any cyclist in the history of cycling who is 6'1", 250. Go find me somebody. That's it. It's hard to pedal that. And Ray is pedaling and pedaling and pedaling and pedaling. And he made it 100 miles on PCH. And you know what? Tomorrow, he can make it 110 miles and 120. And he can keep going forever because now he's broken through. That's something that we all can understand. You know what? Maybe if I pull up a little short today, that's okay. Because I listened to Ray and Coach, and I know tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to take up the battle, and I'll eventually get there.
Yeah, JB, I am probably the biggest black man out there with the highest booty on the ride.
That's right.
So it's hard to miss Sugar out there. Yes, sir. And when I stand up and I put them hamstrings in it, you know I mean business.
Your bike is tapping out, saying enough.
My bike saying, I need a partner.
That's hilarious.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. Listen, thank everyone for joining No Excuses presents the Ray Lewis Show. Absolutely amazing show. My host, JB, I'm excited to do this every week with you, walk through life together, and find this greatness that people are exuding in our worlds right now. Coach Cowher was absolutely amazing. Somebody that I respected so much since 19 years old. And now at 45, I get the pleasure and the gift to sit down and actually interview a legend and welcome him into the Hall of Fame to put on that gold jacket. To everybody who tuned in today, listen, focus. This week is about focus. All right? Nothing else. God bless you all. Thank you for joining us. And me and JB, we out.
God bless.